And welcome to Mandy's Makings. Today we're going to work on a pair of earrings. I posted something on Instagram and on my Facebook page and said, which ones do you like better? But I just wanted to show you one of the other ones. I finished it off. So I changed how I did the outside and added a firefly or, yeah. So I thought these are really cute. So I have two of them done. And of course they're being persnickety. There we go. Trying to get them in my hands so that they're sitting right. And the firefly sort of moves around inside and it can go to the back and to the front, but you get the idea. See if I can get this to focus for you. There we go. So these are really cute and they're all done on the same principle. So it's just a matter of what you do to the outside. And these are fun. So for today's, we're gonna be doing this one. So blew one out as the one that they loved, and I added a drop in here, and obviously I added my ear finding, but this is what I ended up with, and I really love it. So I'm going to show you how to make this. This is several layers, and this will take you some time. It's not something that's going to happen really, really quickly. So if you like these kind of videos, please like, share, and subscribe. And I'm just letting you know that there's lots of different things you're going to need for this, mostly seed beads, but I want you to always check below, and the show more button will always have a full list of everything that I used. So first of all, you're going to need a circular piece for the center that you're going to sort of work around, and this is a 25 by 16 millimeter oval. And then you're going to need obviously ear findings, and this is an 8 millimeter drop, and this is just a Chinese crystal. It's fine. And then I have several colors of seed beads. I have 5 of them. So I have these navy blue seed beads, and these are Toho rounds, and these are they're called navy blue semi-glazed. And then I have the crystal Labrador, and these are in Miyuki's. Doesn't really matter because you can use all Tohos if you want. And this is part of a set, 3 different blues. So I will put them the colorways down. I don't have them in front of me. I have to look for the main package, but I will put these down below. So there's just 3 different blue colors. This one's more of a greeny blue. I don't know if this is going to show well. This is more of a greeny blue. It's got like a seafoamy background. And then this one's a little bit darker. It's lined and it's semi-opaque. You can see through some of it. And this one's silver lined blue in the pale blue. So I just use them different just to give me some movement. So there's like different ones in different places. Like there's one here and the dark blue there, and there's the set that goes across the outside here. Okay, so you're also going to need some Fireline, and I'm using 6-pound Fireline in the crystal. As you can see, I'm going to need more, and then you're going to need some. These are 3 by 2 millimeter Chinese rondelles, and they're in the color of light turquoise. So you're going to need these as well, and those are what I used around the outside of the piece here. Okay, so get your stuff together and come back, and we'll get started. Okay, so I have a size 10 beading needle. I've put my thread on it, and I just took a wingspan, which is basically as far as I can stretch my arms out, and I'm going down to the tail end of my thread. And I'm just going to take it, doesn't matter where on here, and I'm just going to tie myself a knot. So I'm tying a knot. So I'm just going around once, and then I'm going to tie it the other way and do like a surgeon's knot. So I'm going to go through twice. I'm just flipping it around, doesn't really matter. And come on, it's just being persnickety. There we go. There's once, and I bring the thread through a second time. And this is just my start. You won't see this at all. It won't show. It's going to be actually under the beads. And I don't know if you noticed, but I put the knot to the top of the beads. You can slide the knot around to the back if you like. It's fine. When this starts to get annoying, as you can see, there's only like 2 inches of thread here left over. When that starts getting annoying, I just get it out of the way. So I have my beads on my mat, and I have my needle, and I'm just going to pick up 2 beads. Every round that you start when you're doing this, you have to start with 2 beads. But then when we do some of the other stuff, we don't do that at all. So, okay, so I just put the beads on, and then I put my, from the back to the front, I'm pulling my thread through, and I'm holding the beads sort of against my finger so that they stay sort of on that side. And this first one can be a little funky. So then you end up with the 2 beads there, and I'm going to go into the second bead, and I'm going to pull up. Now at this point you want to pull till it tightens up, and they're both sort of standing up on the, let's see if I can get it to focus for you. There we go. So they're both sort of standing up. Not perfectly, but they're fine. When I come around to the end, I'm going to come back through here on this one, and then I'll straighten that one out. So we just have to worry about this one here. Okay, and now from now on, I'm only going to do one. So I'm going to always take it, pick up 1 bead. I'm going to come around through the back, and I just put the needle and the thread through my fingers so the bead stays on the other side of my fingers. So the bead's sort of there, and then that way I don't have to chase the bead. You can bring the bead down first if you want, whatever works for you, whatever's easier. And believe me, when I'm not doing this under camera, this happens a lot faster. And as you can see, my beads are moving all over. That's fine. I'm not even worried about it. All I'm trying to do is get the beads to lay side by side on here. So this is what you've got. Okay, and I'm just going to keep going around and putting 1 bead on a time. So I'm do one more just to explain it one more time. So I've got my bead, my thread coming out of the top of my bead. I'm going to come through the hole in the center of the circle. I'm going to stick it between my fingers, make sure the bead stays on the other side. You can bring your bead down first if you want, whatever works for you. There, so I have my bead like that. So my bead's here, and then I'm going to take my needle and come up through the bead from the bottom. And then I'm just going to pull my thread through, and see there's a big gap. It's fine. I'm just going to pull and tighten so they lay beside each other, so they're like nice little soldiers. And I'm going to come around till I get almost to the end, and then I'll come back to see you then. Okay, so I have 33 on right now. I'm putting on my 34th. I already have it on my thread. The other thing you can do is take the thread and hold from behind and then pull, and it'll bring the bead in. And then you can come up. So I'm going to come up that one. So that was the last one. So I just came up that one. I just want to show you up close. So now I'm going to come down this one, just like that, to connect the first one to the last one. And if you notice, whoops, if you notice, I just pull the thread down, it sort of connects it. Now I usually tend to go back up the same one that the last one I put on, and I sort of snuggle these around and make sure that they come in nice and tight. Now, one of the things when you're putting these on, although these Tohos are nice, Delicas are nice for the same reason, because they're more of a cylinder rather than a round. They tend to stack really good, and if you look, they're not doing this. If they're doing a whole bunch of waving and wiggling, it's because they're not fitting snug next to each other. You just want to fit them nice and snug next to each other. And depending on how many you can get around your piece, and every piece is different. So here's another shape that you can do, and this is another piece that I'm turning into a pendant. It's double layered, and nobody says you can't double layer this stuff. They lie to you when they tell you you can't. So anyways, so it doesn't matter the shape. What you need to do is go, okay, how many beads do I have around the outside? And then whatever I choose to do after that is affected by how many beads I have and how much I can divide them into. So now I got to do the inside row. So we're going to come back down to the bottom. So I've come back up here, and I'm going to go back down here one more time. And this time I'm going to go around the back and just tighten that up so I know that this is good and snug. And now the other thing I want to do at this point is put one to the top. I want one sort of it right in the center here on the top. So you can actually take these and squidge them just a smidge. I don't know if you can see me doing that. I'm squidging them just a smidge. Whether this be your top or that be your top, that one looks like it's in the center on the top on this side, so I'll call that my top. And that's just so that you have a top and a bottom and you have something in the center. And in this case, 2 ends up in the bottom and the center here, which is fine. It just, that way I'm going to call this my top, and I know that the one that has the center in it becomes my top. So now I have my threads coming out and to the bottom and through the middle of this. So I'm ready to get started again. So this time now I'm going to actually bring my thread up. Let me bring it up nice and close so you can see it. I'm going to bring my needle and I'm going to bring it between 2 beads and the wire. So I'm bringing it, there's the wire, there's my 2 beads. I'm just bringing, sort of running my needle right against the wire and bringing it out so that it's starting in the same position it would be as if it was knotted on. Okay, so then you get your next color beads out. I'm going to just move these over, pull my next beads out. And you're going to use less of these ones than you did on the other ones, but that's fine. So I'm going to grab 2 like I did before, and I have this on the bottom. I actually tend to move away from the last point that I did. So this gets a little more interesting. So I'm going to bring my needle through the hole. I have my 2 beads on, and then I'm going to bring my needle up where I think it would work between the wire and the beads that are already in place. And I'm just going to find it. There we go. So when I have this really close to my face, this much, whoops, bonus. I'll be back in a minute. Okay, so let's try that one again. So that was funny. I got a knot in it, and then I get flung, and it landed in my coffee cup. 2 points. I scored 2 points on that one. So I have my 2 beads again. Let's try this again. I try not to mess it up. Bring them down on my thing, and I'm going to put them here. And then I'm going to come up where I think it'll work. I'm just pulling the thread up, and once I get the thread up, I'm going to go through the second bead just like I did last time. So I'm coming through this second bead here, just like I put it in the second bead there. Keep it in focus here. Sorry about that. I know you can hear my roommate. She's coughing, so she's not feeling well today. So there you go. So you start that, and you keep doing the same thing. And the only difference is this time you're coming up between, and you don't have to do every one, whatever works in the scenario that you're doing. So I'm coming up. See how my needle's coming up between the beads? That's what you want to do, is bring your needle up between the beads, and not every bead. So if it works better to be on the next spot, then you can come up on the next spot. So whatever works better in your situation is what you do. So just keep doing that, putting them around the inside and finishing it the same way you did last time, and come back when you've done that, and then I will show you how I do the next row. Okay, so I left a few because I know some of you really like to see things in more detail. So I've been going along, and I've skipped a couple where I didn't go through every single one of the spaces between the 2 beads on the outside. And the whole idea is that you want everything to remain flat and not all curly or puckered or anything. So it's just a matter of spacing. So it's coming through the back. I'm going to grab a bead, and then I'm going to come up and put the next one in. So I'm coming up between the frame and the 2 beads in the bottom that are now on the outside. And then the bead comes around. I stick my finger there to hold the bead, and then I put it in from the bottom of the bead, and then I actually go out the back side because then it sets me up for the next one. And then I pull. And see how there's some space there? You see how there's some space there just a little bit? So I just pull, snug it in just like I would on the top. Let's do this quickly, get a couple more in. So pretty well goes every one, but sometimes it goes a little bit further. So let's see here. And I'm just putting them in, putting it up so I can reach it, putting the needle through, out the back, and then pulling, and then snugging it up against each other. The corners are a little trickier, and I normally wouldn't start and stop on the top end. I don't know what I was thinking. Now I'm going to skip a space, and the next space that's due is right here, but that would be too tight. And I know it would be. This is something that if you're brand new, if you put it in the wrong place, take your needle off and take the thread out and for that one bead and do it again. Put your thread back on. And then I'm going to pull it over. See, now that fits nicely. And I have enough, I think, for one more. Let's see what this one looks like. I'm going to just pull that over there. See how I'm checking to see how much space I have in between. Yeah, I'm going to need one more. Because if I pull that one over, it's going to be too tight. So I'm going to come up through here. There we go. And this is my last bead I'm putting on. Putting it up here. And then putting it back down, that one bead that's loose. Back down through the space or hole between the beads. I'm just securing this on. Make sure everything's nice and happy. There, we're good and secure. So now I gotta figure out where my thread's coming out. It's here. So this is the next thing I need to do. Remember I said leave one at the top that was sort of the center bead. So this next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to have a space in between. So I have to have my needle come out this bead up the top here to go to the next round. So I'm coming out sort of near that bead, pretty close. If I'm worried, I can actually take my needle. See if I can show you this. Hopefully it'll focus for me. Come on. You can do it. There we go. So I can actually take my needle and put it underneath the threads that are on the actual frame. So I'm taking my needle and putting it under just one set of threads, just because I don't want this big piece of thread to show, just to make sure that's under there. And I'm going to put this up here through this one in the middle. If I can get my needle to go in there. There we go. Sorry, I'm going to put it up through that one. So this is my center bead, and this is the two on either side of the center bead. I'm going to put it up through there. Okay, and I'm just going to turn it over. And the reason I'm turning it over is because this is my front side, and I'm continuing to sort of do everything on my front side. So now I need to get all my other beads out, and well, not all of the other ones. I'll tell you what you need when I come back. Okay, so I have it coming out of this top one here. And I don't like the way that bead's laying, but it's okay. So you're not gonna see it in the grand scheme of things, believe me. So I have my silver beads out, and I have the ones that have sort of the seafoamy color. They're bluey seafoam. So I'm gonna put 2 of the silver, 1 seafoam, and 2 silver. These are my 11 O's. And I'm gonna skip one and go into the next one. So I'm gonna come down the next one. So I have that on my needle. So I'm having fun with the phones and everything today. Anyways, so the first one came up through here. I put on 2, put on the seafoam, put on the 2 silver. Then I came down through this bead. I caught the thread that was under here. And then I came straight back up the same one that I went down, and then went through here. So now I only need to pick up 1 silver, 1 seafoam, and 2 more silver. Okay, and then I'm going to skip a bead and go down the next bead. Just like that. Okay. So I know it looks a little funky right now, but don't worry about it. We're going to fix that. So I'm making like the first piece of sort of lace work. We're going to end up going through those seafoamy colored beads in a minute. I'm going to come through underneath the thread bridge that's going across the piece, just the one thread bridge. And this is much easier when you can see, believe me. So I'm just catching the thread, just the one thread. And I know lots of purists are saying, oh, you're not supposed to do that. Well, who says? The thread is what holds it together. Why can't I do what I want with it? So then I'm coming back up. So I caught the thread through here, through the first 11-0, just the first one. And then I pick up one 11-0, one seafoam, and two more. See if I can keep this one in frame. I skip one, I go into the next one. And when you go into the next one, you want to make sure that you're coming out to the front. So there you go. Okay, so I just caught the one thread bridge. Sorry about my camera focus issue. I'll do one more so you can catch it. And then I'm going to come back up through. I'm trying to keep it in frame here. I can move about 1 centimeter right now, so just so you know, I'm coming back through that bead that I just went down and then back up to the first 11-0. And it usually pretty well goes into the 11-0 pretty easily. You just snug that up. One silver, one seafoam, two more silver, and I'll try to keep this in frame and in focus. Okay, so I'm skipping one and going down the next one. Coming down this one here. Okay. And I'm working to the front of my piece. Now underneath that, I'm just moving my thumb over a little bit. Underneath that, you'll see there's a thread bridge, or there should be a thread bridge. My needle's in the way. See the thread bridge that's there? So I'm just going to catch that thread bridge. Just the one. And I'm putting my needle through the thread bridge and pulling. So now I've caught that thread bridge. And now I'm ready to go back up. So let's make sure I'm on frame here. And there we go. So I come back up. And I'm going to do this all the way around until I get to the end. And I'll be back. Okay, so I'm almost finished the round. So I have the last 4 beads. Actually, I need 3 beads on my needle, not 4. So I put 4, so I got to take the one off. I'm just going to back it off. So I only need the 1 silver, 1 seafoam, 1 silver, and I didn't even think about it. That's okay. That's what happens in normal life. Put them down, and this time I'm going to go back through the first one here. So I'm just going to go back through this one here, and I'm going to go back down that first bead. Okay. Ta-da. Now because, and I know some of you are wondering, because I had an even a number of beads on the outer circle here, remember I had 34, this is basically a 2 bead repeat. So because they both go in this branch, so it's 1 2 1 2 1 2, so it looks great, but it's a 2 bead repeat. So again, it goes in here, so that's 1 2, and then it goes in here, and that's open, goes in here, open, goes in here. So it's 2 repeat. Because I have an even number of beads on the outside, I could do this. Now this looks great just the way it is. You could do it like that. You can continue on with more layers. So for me, sometimes I don't know when to quit, but I like more. So now I got to get back up. The idea is I need to get to one of these seafoamy beads. So how can I do that? Well, the easiest way is to go under those threads again. Now just remember that you're not going to see it, because what basically is doing is you're just turning around on those threads and then coming back up. So I'm coming back up, and then I'm going to come back up. Get this closer so it's clearer. I'm coming back up here and then through the top one. So I'm coming out of the middle of that one. So I'm ready for the next round. So in my next round, it was a silver and sort of that darker blue. So it's a different color blue than this one, a different color blue than this one. It's a different color blue. And I'm just going to, so it's a silver, blue, silver. Only 3 beads this time, and I'm literally just going to run from one tip to the other tip. Ta-da! Silver, blue, silver. Super easy. I'm going to go around. And I just want to get, let's make sure I'm in frame here. I'm just trying to get just the 1 bead. There you go, just the 1 bead. And I'm in the wrong one. Helps if I'm in the right one. There we go. Just the 1 bead, the next one. So I'm going to keep going around. So I'm making sort of a lattice lace work. I don't know if you can see this. And I'm just varying what bead sizes, not bead sizes are all 11/0, but how many I want and what I want to do with them. Let me just double check to make sure that's good. Yep, that's what I did. Okay, so we're going to continue doing that, and then we're going to go from there. Going to go all the way around, and when you're done, you know, you come through the last bead, and you're going to come up and out the center bead of this one, and I will meet you back when I get to that point. Okay. Okay, so as you can see, I've gone all the way around, and again, this is beautiful just the way that it is. It reminds me sort of almost as cameo. Now the thing is if you're using beads that you have at home, the more regular the better. But if you're using, like, I'm mixing Tohos and Miyukis, and you can mix Delicas and Miyukis, and it doesn't, you know, Miyuki rounds and Toho rounds, and these blue ones are Toho rounds, and these are Toho regulars. So you can see there is a big difference in the shape and the sizes. The thing is just make it work. I purposely did this project without using any 15-0s, because sometimes people don't want to use 15-0s, and I wanted to show you that you can do the same sort of thing with just 11-0s and have fun with the, you know, with the finding in the middle. So so I'm ready for the next round, and so I dragged out my rondelles, and I still have my silver because my silver is the main one. So I'm coming out of the center, this one here, and I'm going to go to the center of the next one. And what I've put on is one silver, one rondelle, one silver. Oops, let's see if I can get it so you can actually see. So I have a silver, a rondelle, and a silver. Out. Poking myself. Never a good thing. And I'm going to come down the next dark blue. So because they're different colors, it's easy to see. And as you can see, that fits in there nicely. And it sort of stacks those two on top of each other, which is awesome. And I'm just going to continue my way around and do the same thing all the way around again. And I'll just show you one more. So silver, rondelle, silver. And the whole object is to keep it flat. So if what you're putting in, if you're not willing to let it, so if it has to come out, like see how this is sort of poking out? If you're not willing to do that, then what will happen is it'll cup. So this is flat. It's a completely flat piece. So I want it to be flat. So if you want it to be flat, you have to worry about your spacing and how tight you pull. So if I pull this really tight, look what I can do. I can make it curl. See? But I don't want to make it curl. I just want it to lay nice. And I'm going to put in another 15-0 here just to make a little bit more space, but you don't have to. So again, it's your choice of how far you go and what you do. Okay, so I'm going to go around, finish this around, and then I'll show you how I put the blues in between each one, and then we'll be pretty well done this. Okay, so as you can see, I put the last one on, and I'm coming out of that darker bead right here in the center. Coming out of this bead here, and I'm just going to work my way back up and into the rondelle and to this bead here. So I'm going to come across, across, and across. So I'm coming across those three, and I'm just making sure everything's nice and flat, and everything's happy. So now I need some of my navy beads. I left some out on my board, and I'm just gonna, I felt it was too light on the outside. It needed something to ground it back again, so to give it some contrast. So that's why I went with the dark again on the outside, but you can do you. So if you like it like this and you don't want to go any further, don't. So, and it's also helped me reinforce my crystals, my rondelles I have on the outside. So I just put one of the blue in between and went across. One of the blue in between, and I'm going across all three. So I'm going through the 11-0, the rondelle, and the 11-0, if you can see that. And I'm putting the blue in between. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to go around a second time. And now you need to figure out top from bottom again. Okay, so I want you to look at this. This is sort of a little off center, but it's got a point on it. See how this one's more centered to the top? And I've got, actually that's the point to the top, point to the bottom. All right, so I can use this here, or like I did with the other one, I use the other end. So when I get to the top here, see how these two have space between them? When I got to the top, instead of putting the blue beads in, I put 4 silver beads. I reinforced the 4 silver beads. So I went around a second time. Yep, I'll show you when I get there. So this is what I did with this. When I got to this point, I'm ready to put my blue in. I'm going to put the blue in, but I'm only going to go in the 1 bead on the outside, just the 1. And then I'm going to pick up 3 of my silver beads, and I'm going to come back in the 1 on the other side. So I'm just playing ring around the rosy, basically, with these 3 seed beads on the top here. So I'm going to go back through them all again. So I'm coming back through those 3 again with the 3 on. And it gives me that little piece here that's going to become where I'm going to hook in my, what do you call it? So I'm going to come back up again, but this time I'm going to come back up through the 1 and the last one. And it's just to make this go to a point. I'm going to pull, come back up, back down through the 3 again. And there we go, through 3 again. And when I pull, see how that made that go to a little tiny bit of a point? And you still have the 2 threads. As long as you catch underneath here, you still have 2 threads. So you can reinforce that one more time if you want. Because these are extremely light. Extremely light. Like, you'd be amazed how light they are. You barely feel that they're on your ears for the size of them. Because if you can look, they're, you know, what's that, 2 inches or so. So they're really light. So I'm going to go around. I'm going to, you know, keep going, putting my blues in all the way till I get to the end. And when I get to the end, I'm going to come back through here, and then I'm going to come out the seed beads right beside the rondelle, do a half-hitch knot, go back through a couple, do a half-hitch knot, go back through a couple, half-hitch knot, just to finish off my thread. And then I'll be back to show you how to put the finding on, and then we'll be done. Yay! Okay, so I completely forgot that I have to put a crystal on this sucker, so sorry about that, guys. So once I finished doing a few knots, I just worked my way following the thread path back down, put this back down, put it down through the bead, and now I have the thread coming out. So all I need to do is add my crystal. So I put on one of these, my rondelles. Where's my crystal? I have it hanging out here somewhere. There it is. I put on my crystal, and then I put on one of my silvers, and then I come back up through the rondelle and then back up through the bead. And this takes a little fiddling to sort of get your needle in the right place. So you can see I came through and coming back up. And this was my, you know, wingspan of thread. I haven't changed or added thread at all. And as you can see, I don't have much left, so it worked out perfectly. So if you want to, you can go back through between the beads like we did before and reinforce that, which I like to do. So I just go back through here again. Make sure that comes down. I'm going to flip it around to the other side. I'm going to come back down that blue bead in the center if I can. And sometimes you have to sort of hold it at a weird angle and stick your finger underneath and try to get underneath those beads. There we go. Got it. Finally. Come back down through. So I'm back down through the pile. Coming back through the end bead at the end. Back up through the crystal. So now I have double reinforcement here. And I'm definitely not coming through the right bead, so looks like it wants to come out in the front, so we'll turn it around. Yep. Doesn't really matter. As long as you work your way through the beads. And I've caught something else, so I need to see that close up, but I need to bring it back through here and back through here, and then I need to just work my thread around till I get rid of it, and then I'm going to put my finding on. So let me just show you how I do that. So, okay. So I just have, it's just a plain simple finding, and I'm just going to open the loop with my pliers. You can use any pliers you like, and I'm just making it like a little corkscrew. I'm going to need a little bit more space than that. And then I'm just going to take it, whatever size my front side. So all my knots or anything that I had to do, if I had to do any knots, which I really haven't. And then that just goes on like that, or on the back side. And then I just carefully, not to break any beads. Yeah, so I don't break the bead, but slip off the wire. Okay. There we go. Close that up. And I just usually take it carefully, not to, and closer to my face so I can see it. I want to make sure I close that loop so that there's no space up here on the top side of that loop so that it can slip off. So I'm going to fix that, put the thread through, work the thread through, and I'll be done. And then you'll have a beautiful set of let me just get this out of the way. I know that ugly thread sitting there, but I can't see it without going under the magnifying glass. So there's your wonderful set of earrings. Aren't they lovely? So I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you learned something. I still have to make the correction. As you can see, you'll see a photograph at the end. Please like, share, and subscribe. Especially subscribe so you can see more videos, you know, when they're coming up. And as I start to do, get braver and start to do a little bit more live feeds, I might do some, I'm just doing something and I'll just go on live and you guys can hang out with me if you feel like it. So yeah, work this pattern in your own, have fun, and take care from Annie's Makings, and keep on making. Bye!